welcome to Cindy's Library. And today I am going to talk about what I did for Ancient Sathan. Specifically, going to talk about the Iliad because I have feelings. I should have known there might be issues since this is the third time I have tried to read the Iliad. I did succeed this time, mostly thanks to listening to it on an audiobook. But let's say what I liked about it first. That would be fair. So, because I did actually like some things about the Iliad. So, what did I actually like about the Iliad? I would say one, the style is very interesting. I mean, it's not that it isn't very stylized, because it is. There's lots of repetition of descriptions and tons of fleet-footed Achilles or the earth shaker Poseidon or things like that. And many repeated descriptions of battle. So the repetition, the style is interesting. It's austere while being fancy, well, not fancy, but you can definitely tell it was thought very much out. It reminds me a little bit of Norse sagas in its austereness. That might be a good way to think of it, except it's completely different in style. Some of these characters are truly larger than life. I mean, Achilles is definitely larger than life, and so is Hector. Gotta give points for that. Oh, let's see, what else? The descriptions of the gods, I guess I should say the descriptions of the gods interacting, they were interesting. I would not want to give so much power and immortality to people like this, generally speaking. But their interactions as symbols of parts of human nature, that I found fairly interesting. And all the lists of leaders of armies, things like that, or who's the son of who, or past history. I won't say it's my favorite, but I can get behind that. I have read the Bible before. I understand how important such things were to ancient cultures. So, fair enough as far as that goes. So, why did oh, and I also have to say, one of the best parts was the last chapter, the meeting between King Priam of Troy and Achilles. That, I have to admit, I did enjoy. So, why did I dislike the Iliad? Uh, I would have to say it is not only a war story, but it is mostly a war story. Um, you get a few scenes back at the camp of the Greeks, or a few scenes in Troy, and you get some scenes of the gods on Mount Olympus, but a lot of it is war, and it is unrelenting. And it wouldn't be bother me so much, and it probably shows I am a modern. I fully confess it. I fully confess I probably have not been trained how to appreciate something like the Iliad. But not only is the war unrelenting, but the descriptions. So and so thrust with his spear and got past so and so's armor and hit his stomach, and his guts spilled out and his eyes dimmed, or thrust his spear into so and so's eye socket and his eye popped out and his brain spattered. And I'm only exaggerating a tiny bit. That is what it felt like for a lot of the book. That is not something that I enjoy. So I can't say I'm sorry that I have read the Iliad, but a war story told in this way and the repetitive nature of the war descriptions actually did not help with this, as far as I was concerned. Personal opinion on all this, but this is my reaction to finally getting through the Iliad. Can't say I'm sorry that I've read it. I can say that I've read it, and I can see value in it. Like I said, larger than life characters. I mean, Achilles is practically the personification of anger. Cautionary tale that way, and same with some of the other characters. But yeah, this is one I will not be revisiting again, except maybe the last chapter, since I really did enjoy that somewhat. And now a sidebar. I wish I could find it. I wish I had my books out so I could find it. Um, but it was a book talking about C.S. Lewis in the Great War, and it may have had Tolkien in it as well. And indeed, there is a quote from C.S. Lewis, and I think it is in his spiritual autobiography, Surprised by Joy. Um, he doesn't write a lot about the Great War, but he does write a little bit. And one of the things he writes is basically, when I first saw war, I thought, this is the Iliad. This is exactly what Homer described. And this book I read was chiding C.S. Lewis a bit for saying that, feeling that C.S. Lewis was being cavalier in that. I would say not at all. I don't say that there aren't a few points where we get the glories of war described in the Iliad, but mostly it is relentless battle with the gods arguing in between and one or two homey scenes. And so I can't say, as far as that goes, C.S. Lewis was wrong. So I guess in that way, eh, good for you, Iliad. If your aim was to describe what war is like, sounds like you succeeded. And I am not going to read it again. I've read the Odyssey, and that I enjoyed a lot more. Not that there aren't some, um, oh, not that there aren't some of the same things, but the Iliad is primarily a war story. The Odyssey is primarily a journey story. And the Iliad, we get stuck for better or for worse with the same characters. The Odyssey, we meet new characters as we move on to new scenes. So, anyway, like I said, I have feelings about the Iliad. Oh, but I made it through. Have you read the Iliad? Do you agree or disagree with me? I'd love to hear what you think. Oh, thank you for stopping by. I truly do appreciate it. I think that's all for today. So until next time, I hope we all stay safe and healthy. And as always, happy reading.